What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new and very special episode of Cosplay Chris. Today, it is a collaboration for the ages. Today, I'm going to be talking about and showing you guys the H5 hero replica bust slash mask that my good friend Alex Orlandi had sculpted from the base up. We have then had it 3D scanned, 3D printed, and I've done the finishing work, and today is showing you guys that exact process. This is something that has been a long time in the making, especially for Alex. Alex is a hardcore H5 fan. He's a hardcore H5 hero mask fan. Now, Alex and I have been friends for a good couple of months. I actually did a Batfleck bust recently for Alex. He then approached me about this upcoming Halloween 5 hero mask replica bust that he wanted to collaborate with. Now, Alex has a YouTube channel called Couch Hard. I highly recommend checking that stuff out. It is right up my alley. It'll be right up your alley. It's a lot of horror stuff, horror geeky goodness at its finest. So Alex sculpted from the ground up, in my opinion, the perfect representation of the hero mask from Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, that was worn by Don Shanks. It's a very specific looking mask, and it's very specific the way it fit on Don Shanks' head, especially the neck. Alex busted his ass to make sure this sculpt looked right from every angle possible. Even the 3 little bumps on the neck, it's all there. This is what I love about this hobby, geeks and geekettes. It's just passion at its finest, and the fact that everything is a match, in my opinion, from every angle, and the way that Alex has done it is brilliant. Now, what I love about this collaboration is I had to learn a few tricks because I had not had a Michael Myers mask since grade 12. And that was an easy one because I had pre-made wig strips. Whereas Alex sent me some professional grade crepe hair. I had to prep it, straighten it, soak it, glue it all row by row, and it was a massive learning experience. And I learned a lot about the H5 hero mask. So perfect segue, a little bit of history on the H5 hero mask. So the mask for Halloween 5, sculpted by KBFX, differs from the original design because instead of the mask having an emotionless face, the director wanted Michael to have an angrier expression. Now, some scenes were filmed with the original mask until the director stated that the mask looked quote unquote too feminine. Now, in order to fix this, KBFX sculpted a nose and lip appliance. And as far as we know, the lip appliance was only added to the stunt mask. Now, at one point during filming, Donald Pleasance hit Don Shanks in the face and broke his nose. And many originally thought that that nose appliance was added to give Don Shanks extra room for his broken nose. But this was proven to be incorrect when the nose appliance rotted off the primary hero mask and there was still a nose underneath. Now, the base sculpt itself was based off a live cast of Greg Nicotero. And like I said, it does have a very distinct look. It has that big bowing out neck when it's resting on Don Shanks' head. Now, in terms of the whereabouts of the hero mask today, the primary hero was formerly in Mustafa Akkad's office, but was rapidly deteriorating in its last known image. And the nose appliance had rotted and fallen off. The neck was crumbling, so evidence suggests otherwise. It can be assumed that the mask is no longer around. The second hero mask is owned by actor Don Shanks. Don kept the mask immediately after filming and took it to many conventions over the years, but unfortunately Shanks would leave the mask on the table unattended during conventions. And when he'd walk away, people would go up, grab the mask, touch it, which rapidly accelerated its deterioration process. Now, the mask was restored by Tom Spinner and his crew of Spinner Designs and did a wonderful job. Look, they did the best with what they could because that mask had seen some shit. And there you have it, a little bit of history on the H5 hero mask. So what I'm about to show you guys is the entire process of finishing off this bust for Alex. Alex is based in Canada. I'm gonna be showing you guys some footage from Alex's sculpture video of how he sculpted this beast. We then had it scanned in Alex's homeland of Canada. I then had it printed at a company called Fat Fox in resin, which is a very high definition resin print that leaves next to no print line. So cleanup was minimal with this, and that's what we wanted. We wanted the sharpest detail possible with this piece. So guys, enjoy this footage, enjoy my shitty commentary. It's been a hot minute, and a massive thank you to Alex for making this possible and giving me the opportunity to do this. Again, I learned a lot along the way in terms of building and also the H5 hero mask. So with that being said, enjoy. Oh, it is time for some shitty commentary, geeks and geekettes. So, as we can see right here, this is footage of Alex beginning his journey with sculpting his high-end representation of the Part 5 hero mask from Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. And I gotta give it to him, the patience that is needed just to build up the foundation of something like this, a mask that is represented to appear on the actor's head and not just sitting there on a mask stand. It takes a lot of work because there are so many different angles you have to get right because the mask shifts, it changes quote unquote shape. Much like in the vein of the Halloween 1 / Halloween 2 mask, how that changed from Nick Castle's head to Dick Warlock's head. When it was resting on Don Shanks's head, that neck just billowed out so much, and that is exactly what Alex was trying to replicate and did end up replicating. And as you can see here in this footage, and I'll link down in the description the original video to this because it is a great watch and Alex gives some great overall commentary on it and just his journey with sculpting this, because it's one of those things where you're not really entirely finished until you're finished, if that makes sense. Like, there have been times on projects I've just had to go back and forth numerous times, and that's exactly what Alex did, especially when it came to the nose from memory and the eyes. You know, resculpting them back and then trying again to get that form right. And especially with that neck, the way the neck rests on his sculpt and looks, it feels like old school latex. And as we can see here, this is Alex's finished sculpt, and he's doing the lighting tests, and I do the lighting test with our finished bust at the end of this video because his sculpt picks up so many beautiful details. Like I mentioned, the 3 bumps on the neck, as you see right there, it's ridiculous because the screen used hero mask has that. Alex went ahead and did that. That's just, there is fandom and there is passion projects, and then there is this. And that's why I wanted to be involved and work and collaborate with Alex on this, because obviously it's bringing something home for a fan, but also it's testing me and I'm learning new skills. So what we're about to see now is the original 3D render after having this piece scanned. Alex had it scanned in his homeland of Canada, and we had a few options in terms of the resolution, but obviously we wanted the highest resolution. Now here's the original 3D print that came from FactFox. This was 3D printed in resin, in a high definition resin, and cleanup is next to none. I've been using these guys on and off for about a year and a half now. Brilliant work, affordable, and again, cleanup is next to nothing. So I'm just dremeling out the eyes now, and it's just a base dremel for now, and then I went in with a set of files to file away the inside because we need the mesh and stocking lining to sit flush against the eyes without any bulk. And it was very touch and go because filing out the eyes can shift the overall shape of the eye, and you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that from the original sculpt. Now I did do the hairline in pencil and then went in with an engraver on my Dremel and very lightly engraved the hairline. Now I'm just using a flat grey primer from Rust-Oleum just for something to bite onto the resin before we start painting. The painting was very simple. I used a titanium white from Liquitex, you can see right there, and this stuff really sticks. No mixing of anything else, obviously, because it's not a latex mask, but just dabbing it on with a chip brush to give that uneven paintwork, I guess you could say, that the hero has. It kind of has this texture where the shades under it are bleeding through, and that's what we were trying to achieve. And for a base coat without any weathering, I was very happy with that. Now in terms of the shading, I got a charcoal pencil and carved that away just with a Stanley knife or a modeling knife, and then just dabbed it on a brush and went into all the details. And what I love about the charcoal is it's so subtle, yet when it's applied on the mask and it's sealed in with a matte sealer, it really picks up the details. Now the lips were very touch and go because the lips seem to shift a lot with this mask, or the hero mask for that matter, and throughout the film. And Alex had a certain look that he wanted with the way that the lips were represented. And then the eyebrows were a mixture of burnt sienna, raw umber, and also adding a white into those browns just to highlight, I guess you could say, the kind of sculpted in hairs that Alex included on his sculpt. Now for prepping the crepe hair, I had to straighten it and also soak it in hot water and cut it into certain length. Each hairline had a different length, and I finalized that with Alex to make sure that this hair was gonna look as best as possible. And this is my first time working with crepe hair. So for the bulk of the hair, I used Gorilla Glue, just from Bunnings Warehouse. You can see right there, just Gorilla Glue. I pre-laid down a strip and then smushed it in with a Q-tip, and then got my pre-cut pieces and dabbed them down. Now, prep when hairing a mask is essential. It's gonna make things a lot more efficient, work time a lot more quicker. And then I just went back in with more Gorilla Glue once the hair was laid down, and got a piece of silicone and smushed it down, because nothing wants to stick to silicone but silicone. So that was the best way possible to smush this stuff down into the mask. And the great thing about it, about Gorilla Glue, is it really sticks to this, but there were some pieces that I did have to remove after the full hair was done, just to get the proper screen use look, and it lifted straight off without peeling the paint, which was amazing, yet it sticks there really damn well. So this took about half a day. I'd obviously have to let the hairlines set, and now we're doing the top hairline. At this point, he looks like an old man with a receding hairline. But I pre-drew out all the hairlines, had them approved by Alex, and he drew them onto pictures that I'd send him, you know, in Photoshop. Here, this is how the hairline should look. Here's how the different hair lengths should be. And working my way up to the initial hairline, in which we used spirit gum, because I asked Alex, what did they use to glue the hair down on the screen use mask? And he said they used, I think it's tacky glue or spirit gum. And we don't have tacky glue here in Australia, so I opted for spirit gum. And the great thing about spirit gum is it gives you time to work. It gives you time to move stuff around, because the screen used H5 Hero mask has a very distinct hairline where it's quite choppy and chunky. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It really doesn't have an organic look to it. It kind of just chops and has spaces in it and stuff like that, especially on the sides of the hairline. That's why I loved using the spirit gum. And also, using the spirit gum, it gives you that kind of yellow tinge to it that a lot of the screen use masks have, and that the H5 Hero mask has. Like at the beginning of this video, the footage of Don Shanks's mask, it has that yellow kind of adhesive tinge to the hairline, which is great. So I made sure to really take my time with the hairline, and I kind of had to work myself up to do it, because even though it's not really one shot, you still don't want to muck anything up, especially when you're trying to help bring something home that's a passion project for someone. And I was really happy with how the hairline turned out. Really damn happy. And the overall hair, really happy with, because I haven't haired a mask in God knows how long. Like, I was in grade 12 the last time I haired a mask, and that was with a cheap, disgusting wig with pre-done hairlines. And then the final result was just brilliant to style. We just used a VO5 hairstyle, and the H5 Hero mask has a very distinct hairstyle. It's kind of punk rocky, mullety, just dreads almost. It's bordering on dreads, and that's what I'm doing there. I'm trying to chunk these pieces together and like whisk them away so they're kind of spiking out and everything, and it's quite a head of hair, I must say. So for screening the eyes, the screen use mask apparently used stockings. That's what Don Shanks said. But Alex also wanted the texture of mesh. So we met halfway, and I got some stocking and mesh and glued them together. And that way you get an authentic screen used look, but also have a cool mesh texture. And just hot glue them in, and hot glue loves to stick to resin prints. Makes life a lot more easier. I'm just setting them in like so, and I loved it. Initially I was just pretty happy with the stockings, but Alex opted for the mesh, and you can see right there it has that really interesting texture going on there. Kind of, it looks otherworldly, and I was really happy. Now for the mannequin, not much work was required with the mannequin. I did have to bulk the shoulders out because he looked a little too narrow and a little too bobbleheady. So I just got some foam and expanded the shoulders a bit, and we had to chop and change him a bit just with an angle grinder, just to get rid of some excess and just not really necessary. And Alex was able to track down the same make and model coveralls. From what I'm told the Sears trade wear, I don't have them in front of me obviously because the bust is with Alex now, but those are the original same make and model coveralls from back in the 80s, and they smelt so vintage and really high quality too. And then all that was left was to pop the head back on the bus with a piping system, a PVC piping system, and it was done and dusted. And now you're about to see the full reveal of Alex Orlandi's H5 screen used hero bust replica.